farewell to Pyeongchang finishes here in Königssee in Bavaria, in one of the homes of winter sliding sports. It's the 8th and final weekend of the BMW IBSF Bobsleigh and Skeleton World Cups, and we are here for the final run of the season. It's the blue ribbon, the four-man bob. Hello everybody, thanks for joining us. I'm Martin Haven, alongside me John Morgan, and John, what a race.
Yeah, Francisco Friedrich got a suspect start time in the first run. You would expect that out of some fantastic athlete that he's got on his sled, and he's up high in the finish curve. Uncharacteristically, he's back at third place, tied with this guy, Team Benny Meyer of Austria. He does well on this track, snuck into a top 8 in the two-man yesterday, 4th last week at St. Moritz, and this young 23-year-old Austrian starting to show some promise. Second place, though, Johannes Lochner. He's a Bavarian guy, born and raised a mile down the street. He's the World Cup leader with 4 wins, and with this finish in the first run, he's going to win the World Cup title, but he doesn't want to win only the World Cup title. He wants to chase down this German teammate, Nico Walter, who had the best start in the first run. Usually this German team's got the third best start of the Germans, but Nico Walter, who's won before this season, a couple times at two-man, once at four-man, and he's got himself on top of the leaderboard in a very tight race.
Yeah, fantastic race for Nico Walter so far. He's had a medal in almost every race here in the last 5 seasons. The winner back in December 2015. He leads Hansi Lochner and Benny Meyer, breaking up the German domination of the podium as he ties with Francesco Friedrich ahead of the Oscar Ziers. But look further back, we've got a very tight field. In fact, it was tighter yet right down to 20th place at the end of the first heat. We had an all-Czech Republic tie between Dominik Dvorak and Jan Verber. Verber's sled bounced out because it was overweight. Yesterday, we almost had a one-nation tie for 20th, but the 2 Russians that were tied, they got bounced out of the race by Ivo de Brun. Well, it's a balmy 1.4 degrees, ice temperature -2. No snow in the air, though, John, and that's good news for Nico Walter there and for the rest of them.
Well, there's Francisco Friedrich. A lot of pressure on him to produce a better start. There's Marcus Sommer, one of the brakemen for Benny Meyer, the Austrians. He's playing lookout on his sleds, and perfect, beautiful setting. You just don't believe how beautiful this place is. You can see the snow we've had overnight. Again, Friedrich got a lot of pressure on him to produce. Big crowd on hand, a very large, educated crowd in the sport of bobsled, luge, and skeleton, all 3 sports.
Dominik Dvorak heads our entry list for the last run of the season. 20 down to 1, the fastest 20 sleds from the field of 25 go through. Both runs will count, and of course this is the last time they'll do a 2-run race this year. Next time they meet, it'll be over 4 heats in the Winter Olympic Games. Well, the track announcers here have done a great job of getting this knowledgeable crowd revved up, and they are looking for a German 1, 2, 3. We haven't had a German sweep of the podium in any of the competitions so far, but all 4 races so far, women and men's skeleton, 2-man bob and women's bob, have been won by German athletes. And a couple of them, we've had a 1-2 result. For the last time of the season, Martin Haven and John Morgan calling the action trackside for you in the World Cup as Dominik Dvorak gets our final slide underway.
Yeah, 4 years ago, he was pushing Jan Verber, who just got disqualified, and come out. He's done pretty good at two-man. He's a 10-9 sprinter on the 100 meters. So, he's just learning how to drive these big 4-man sport utilities. And these 4 S's, this is the top of the track. And to watch this exit, well, this is supposed to be a straightaway. It's not a straightaway, it's a bendaway. And those are pretty good lines. Now watch what's next. This turbodrome, this big Kreisel. And this Kreisel, okay, it's not over. You gotta shoot yourself into this little labyrinth here. And this is no picnic.
Already going a kilometre an hour faster than he was in the first heat. He had 1:21.8, that's 1:22.7. So he's still got that extra speed now, John. The temperature is dropping, the ice is getting harder and faster.
Should be faster.
Of course, he's going first and not 25th.
And he goes...
Speed at the bottom is better, and a 49.26. So
3,100's better.
Some of that track improvement, some of that Dominik Dvorak improvement.
Yeah, well, again, he's still learning. He's only had 4 races this year, probably a couple 4-mans last year, but spent a little time in the Europa Cup learning, and The two-man's one thing. The four-man, this big sport utility, coming down this challenging track, that's another. And this is the exit of the Kreisel or the Turbodrome into this tight three-quarter combination in 100 meters. This labyrinth that's, we'll see a lot of pictures there tonight.
We'll see him in the Winter Games in Pyeongchang. Czech Republic qualifying 2 sleds to 2 and 4-man. Lamindine of Great Britain will also go to represent Team GB, we believe, to Pyeongchang in the 4-man competition. And 19th after the first heat with Ben Simons, Sam Blanchet and Andy Matthews behind. They have just 0.02 of a second in hand over the Czech Republic team.
And had the 20th best start. These 4 athletes in the Great Britain teams won medals in Park City and Whistler. They had great starts back then. That's what's happened to them.
First time this foursome have pushed together. Sam Blanchet played rugby sevens for England and the Exeter Chiefs, and he's returned to the fold in the last couple of weeks.
97, 93, better, lot better. Velocity, keep your eyes on the velocity in the left. That's how they get in the sled and get around the first curve.
So 56.5, 35 miles an hour, push starting from a standstill.
Oh, and that's the same type of ride he had in the first heat. Sloppy on the exit of the S's. So the speed, 114.3.
So he may well fall behind the Czech Republic. He only had 200s in hand. They started faster. 122.7 from Dominic Dvorak. Lamindine needs at least that. 122.8.
He should
Might
stay.
cling on by the skin of his teeth.
Still 200s, 116.1. That's better speed. Yeah,
he will
much
stay
better
in
speed.
front.
So Lamindine finds a little bit of the Bavarian line in the bottom and uses it to his advantage. But again, Martin, just very surprised at their deficient start time. When we saw the British athletes come out of their training camp, we were impressed that they were going to have 2 good start teams in both of their sleds. Here, a little late there, above that line. See this? Now watch the articulation split. When you see this sled split that much, how much air rushes in there? That's at 60 miles an hour. And then, of course, the skidding it causes. Lamin looks on and...
Well, let's hope things go better in Pyeongchang. Just want to say hi to Bruce Tasker and also to Carl and Lee Johnson's dad, celebrating his 70th birthday.
Bruce, we miss you out here.
Next up, Nick Polonyato of Canada. Canada qualifying 3 sleds in the 4-man competition. He's got Lascelles Brown, Joey Nemeth and Ben Coakwell behind him. Lascelles Brown, a winner with Pierre Ledoux back in 2007 on this track.
Last Canadian 4-man win, wasn't it?
The only Canadian medal in the last 12 years.
So 492, 400's better. The start track for everybody is kinder. Same velocity as the British. And Nick had some issues himself on the exit of the S's. Look at the runners.
Yeah, came off a little early, had to avoid the wall on the right, but not a bad drive.
It's pretty quiet. Those are a little skid there, though. 115, 114.7, which is
on
the
the wrong
speed.
side, going into Jenna, that leads into the Kreisel. Now the exit here will make or break the run. Oh, that's good.
Really nice.
That's really nice. Speed should be...
123, 122.5. That's lesser speed, though, than the British.
Okay, maybe
He
that's
taps there.
too hard.
He's got enough, though. He's gonna win by probably 11, 10.
All right, the gaps are close here, 49.20. If this was a 1-heat race, then he would be 300s in front of Lamindine, 600s in front of Dominic Dvorak. But all heats count.
Going to be close. We're going to see some ties. We could see some ties for the medals. We saw a World Championship gold medal here last year tied. First time ever in the history of the sport. And these are 3 right here. This last skid, if he could have got away with that without skidding there. But this is pretty smooth here. Watch the heads. Watch the way the transition into the take-on of the curve, the C curve. That's really nice. This is one of the better lines we could see.
See the heads on the left. How close can the crowd get at a bobsleigh track? Treat yourself. Go to a bobsleigh race. And then take a taxi ride. You won't believe it. Ivo de Bruin of the Netherlands making the field, 17th place. After a great day in the 2-man yesterday. Levis Venker, Paul van der Sijde and Janko Francic behind him. And there were a lot of mistakes in his first run. If he can tidy up even a couple, he could move up here.
So each team so far has gone faster at the start. They went 490. They should get into the 80s.
Well, you don't want to disappoint Tom Delahunty bellowing away at the top of the track.
Late transition. There's the 488. Ooh, real hard onto the take onto one. And he's got 2400ths lead. Wow. And the only thing that could screw that up is the transition right here.
Oh, that's a little better than the first run. That's a lot better than the first run. He was sideways all the way down.
2 hits with some checking of the runners. 115, best speed for Ivo de Bruin. And he's not going to make the Olympic Games, but he's going to make a statement that he wants to go on. And boy, sometimes you just take your breath when you see his sleds get in there a little late in that lap. It's 123.2. No doubt he's going to be the leader. By a lot, too. He could move up here, like he did yesterday.
He could easily move up. A good second heat is just what he needs.
49.11, 2600ths or 1600ths better. Good result for the Dutch as they build towards Beijing 4 years from now.
49.11 in the first heat would have left him on the fringes of the top 12, so he has got a chance to move up. Janko Francic yesterday said he was finishing off his World Cup career this weekend, so that will be his final push. And congratulations there from Lascelles Brown. Netherlands, he's never pushed for Netherlands, has he, Lascelles? I lose track of...
He's a mercenary.
Hey,
Monaco,
could do in the next
Jamaica.
quad. Yeah. So next up is Max Manchinov of Russia after a desultory set of results yesterday in a two-man race. Look it up.
And last week in St. Moritz, too.
Don't. Russian bobsledding is all over the place at the moment.
All over the back part of the results.
Yeah. It's,
There's some flags out in front of our booth here, though.
well, and down in the grandstand in front of us, Nadja Sergeyeva, who was in the top half dozen in the women's race yesterday, the only bright light in the Russian weekend so far.
Well, they had a decent start, you know, but they didn't have in the two-man at all yesterday. 490, they should be in the 80s. 488, so everybody's a little quicker.
So only the same as Ivo de Bruin and the Dutch team, and they only have 400s in front. So one tiny error, and that's all gone.
By that 800s lead right there, relative to good entry into the sled. Let's see what he can do here.
Okay, better entry onto the bend away. 1, 2, 3. He's going to take a fourth hit.
115, 114.7. So now he's going to
coming down.
Not the same speed. The 71.3 mile an hour speed's a little bit down to the Dutch.
500s. He could go behind.
123 is the Dutch. 123.2, exact same speed as the Dutch.
This is going to be very close.
7, he's pulling away now.
Okay.
He's going to be the leader.
Might be the end of Ivo de Bruin's chances of moving up.
49.07, 1600s better. Good weekend for the Dutch. Mr. Zukov, the head of the Russian program and double gold medalist from 14, looks on. And there was 5 teams in the competition yesterday, 3 men and 2 women. Only one had a good start time, and that one finished 5th in the women's race.
Looking out of our window, John, down on the fans, there are a few flakes of snow starting to fall again.
Watch the back end. Watch the way the heads are they locked in there. You know, if those heads are flying left to right like that, they pick up hundreds of seconds. A lot of focus on the air.
Max Manchinov of Russia leads. 5 down, 15 sleds to go in the World Cup season. Switzerland's Clemens Brascher, second of the 2 Swiss sleds in this final 4-man race of the BMW IBSF World Cup season. We're in Königssee in Bavaria. Martin Haven and John Morgan trackside watching the action. And a man here who has outperformed his teammate Rico Peter in the 2-man so far this season. And in the 4-man, still work in progress.
Look at the eyes. You know, we didn't know much about this guy. He showed up in Wittenberg, first European event and first ever event.
And this is the kid that has single-handedly ended Bert Hefty's illustrious bobsleigh career.
They showed up. He had won a couple Europa Cup events. We knew that, but he won the Wittenberg event. We were like, wow,
yeah.
The Swiss are here. But since then, he's one more medal in the 2-man in Innsbruck the following week, and in 4-man is 18th last week on his home track in St. Moritz.
Yeah. Kind of vanished a little bit since then, but what an impact he made in that snowstorming Winterberg.
Not too well yesterday, didn't get in the top 10.
Okay, not a bad bend away. Still 600s back because of that start. They started 800 slower than the Russians.
Speed was better, a little late there. Watch out, no problems. 400s back, so with the huge speed here, he's got a chance.
Hasn't got the speed of the Russians.
122, where he could fall back here a lot.
Russians 116.3, 115.8. He is going to drop back, and Ivo de Bruyne moves up as well.
Whoa.
So he drops behind de Bruyne by 300s into third spot at the moment.
Wolfgang Stomp for the coach. Yesterday he had reason to smile with his both women's teams doing well. Sabina Hafter climbed up into the top 10 in World Cup points, which is your where you finish in World Cup points is a lot to do with at your start time at the Olympics.
Yep.
And here's the exit of the Turbodrome, the Kreisel. A little late there. And he crosses over and has a steer. You can see the steer. Look at his rudder tip, front rudder tips here. Oh, there wasn't any steering there. There was a collision with the wall that made him steer there. Not happy. He's limping, too. Look, he's limping. That might be a hamstring issue.
That's not good.
Not good.
Well, we've seen one Swiss sled. You've seen them all. You haven't quite yet. Here's Rico Peter, the second of the Swiss drivers, who is 400ths of a second in front of his teammate. Alex Baumann, Simon Friedli, regular members of his crew, but Mikael Quonen on the back handles started the season pushing for his teammate, Clemens Brascher. Now the Swiss have moved him into the #1 driver's lineup. Rico still pushing with the ball of his right hand. He's broken his thumb.
Got a cast on. Still in 492 to a 488. 400's better. 56.9. Good velocity for the guy I call the reckless driver, because he comes down, hits everything in sight, and a lot of times he's fast. Basically, ooh, the big skid there. He's had a lot of problems there both days.
Yep. But he needs the 3 weeks before the four-man competition starts to get healthy and to get strength in that hand. 1:14.6, second only to Anjanov, and in fact, de Bruyne quicker there. 800s up.
Speed crucial.
That's coming down over Anjanov. It's going to be very close at the line.
7, 161.
That'll do it.
Right to the 100. He should have it 3 or 400s in the bank. 7. He got it, so no problem.
49.09. He holds his spot in the top 14, but that's a long way from where Rico Peter likes to hang out.
Last week they had to lift him out of the sled because of the broken pin, broken thumb, and the pin he's got in there. He
that was
comes
the
up.
Crash in the four-man in Altenburg.
Still tender. Oh no, we can put weight on it though.
Yeah, not much.
Yeah, this didn't help. When you see the sled split, the articulation like that, all the air rushes in there, causes the skid. I mean, he was maxed out trying to get off the curve. Then again, coming off the Kreisel, you see that sled splitting quite a bit.
One of his favourite brakemen, Thomas Amrine, broke his collarbone in the crash in Altenburg, so we're wishing him a lot of quick recuperation. They'll both need it to be fit for the games. The four-man doesn't start for 3 weeks. Next up, Chris Spring of Canada. Third place in the overall World Cup in two-man at the end of the season after a great race weekend.
Same as they had the first run. Stones, another rugby player for Canada. Kirkpatrick went to Cornell, was track and field guy. And Neville Wright, he's just a beast on the back from Edmonton, who plays the bass guitar.
Good first corner momentum, 500ths of a second up on Rico Peter, 400ths of that from the first heat, so how close is this run?
This is great speed here. This is much better than he had the first run. The first run he was way in the back, and this is looking much cleaner.
And he's in such a tight group of sleds, he could easily move up.
123.9, these are all excellent numbers he can take to the bank.
Fastest everywhere so far, Chris Spring.
Big change for Chris Spring in this run, 48.88. He just went 2,200ths better.
That's a good run. We saw Lyndon Rush in the red cap and Todd Hayes there, the coaches. They'll be happy with that. So is Cam Stones, who stands up immediately. And Josh Kirkpatrick and Neville Wright. And the Springer's had a really good season. A couple of fallow years for him. Come back with a vengeance this year.
Yeah, bronze medal last week at St. Moritz. Bronze medal to open the season in Lake Placid. And how are the lines? Look at the head. Look at the, ooh, there's some air there. And look at the teams riding pretty well. Not too much. But here's a little skid, looks like.
Medals in four-man, wins in two-man. What a season for the former Australian cricketer. Yeah, baby.
I like it.
I like it too.
Look at this crowd.
12 sleds to go in our World Cup season. Alexander Kazyanov of Russia with Alexei Vaitsev. Vasily Kondratenko and Alexei Pushkarev in the four-man sled. This is not the best placed of the Russian sleds, although he is the best of the Russian four-man drivers. 8th in the World Cup rankings, victorious in Whistler. Next best result, by the way, apart from Whistler, 6th place in Altenburg.
Yeah, just the speed track up in Whistler. He's won there. The last 3 times he's been there, he's won twice in silver medal. But the rest of the year, he just suffers with start times, 4:92 there, which is better than he did in the first run.
56.4, not great momentum. Now, his advantage over Chris Spring was a vast 100th of a second from the first heat.
He's 900s down now. It's going to be tough. 116 speed, maybe give him a chance. 115 too, no.
He is not going to catch him, and he could drop 3 or 4 spots at this rate.
15. Can't drop anything else there. But, I mean, he's a great driver. Just 122.4. I mean, that's just good.
That's not bad speed. Okay, so he'll cling on, maybe behind Chris Bean and Rico Peter. Will he beat his teammate?
No, he
does. But he beats Anjanov
by 300s.
Commander Zubkov underwhelmed.
His best team going into the Olympic Games is the Russian #2 women's team, because they have a start time.
And there's a question mark over whether Zubkov will go, whether Kazyanov will be allowed to go. Currently both suspended.
That's a whole nother story.
Yep.
But these lines here, these are good lines there, so he just...
But it's just kind of dribbled away from a strong start to the season to almost nothing in terms of speed, pace. USA's Cody Basque on the fringes of the top 10 after a good first heat, barring the bend away. Richard Laubenstein there with the sled. Just want to say thanks a lot to him for this week.
There's our leaders. Very astute team, Chris Spring.
A bit more goofing in the leaders box required, I think, from the Springer and the boys. Let's see what Basque can produce. Evan Weinstock, Stephen Langton going to his 3rd games, and Sam McGuffey on the sled.
Good start in the first run of 584. 582, great. Velocity.
I'll say 482, it makes it sound better. 582.
Excuse me.
You're really crucifying it.
4 S's now. Cody's only got about 9 trips in this sled in 2 weeks, and that's not going to help his efforts.
Well, I was going to say it's a better bend away. It's not quite. 300s ahead of Spring from the first heat. He's ahead of him now, but the speed isn't good.
And
all of that slithering and sliding is going to cost him.
Watch out.
Still with the lead. Still with the lead.
Hard to believe it with all that snow.
Look at the speed, 123.5. That's good.
Sliding there. 114.8, it's off the mark.
He might slip back 1, and he does slip back 1 at the line. Okay, but a 49.12 run. Now Brian Scheimer a little disappointed with that, but...
Yesterday, Cody had a problem with the steering in the first run, finished last in the race. And that steering all the way down, it was amazing. He got down, and then this is a brand new sled that they're tinkering with. And, you know, right before the Olympic Games, trying out brand new equipment. I somehow don't like that.
They're trying to make
look at, that's the loosest run we've seen in the competition here.
Yeah.
You know, in defense of a guy who's a
Misha
good driver.
McNeil close to a crash, isn't it?
Yeah, in defense of a guy who's a pretty good driver. This sled is not set up to his liking. You can see this here. You know, and it's
well,
the last race before the Olympic Games.
Trying to get it to steer like his old four-man, and that's...
And he's 5th in World Cup points with the other equipment.
Chris Spring, Cody Basque, Rico Peter, the top 3, 10 down, 10 to go. A snowy evening for the final World Cup race of the regular season. 10 sleds left to go to seal the gold medal in Königssee and a Crystal Globe. Martin Haven and John Morgan watching Justin Olsen of the USA get our final runs underway.
Could be a 480. 482 in the first run. Excellent start by this foursome. 482. Nate Weber, Carlo Valdez, and Chris Folk.
57.0, that's a good momentum out of the first corner from a good start.
Olsen won the gold medal with the late Steve Holcomb in 2010. Chris Folk won a bronze medal with the late Steve Holcomb in 2014. And here's 2 of them on the sled. And Olsen just starting to figure out how to drive.
1:15.4, very good speed, fastest of all, apart from Chris Spring.
600s, he's going to need to be clean, especially in this uphill section out of Ecovon coming up. He's got to be clean here.
Little
tap. Oh, that 100th is going to hurt him.
Tap back on his teammate Cody Bascu and Chris Spring. He slips into second. 48.98 is the fastest run. The second fastest run, rather. Chris Spring did a 48.88, so a big run from Spring.
Spring went 2400s better.
Yep.
Olsen 700s better. Well, the starts are great. Both U.S. sleds, great teams. This is a prototype, but Olsen's been driving this all year. At least he's got a feel for the equipment. And Cody Bascu's been like a test pilot with the brand new equipment. And, you know, look at these four-mans.
Well, second fastest start of the competition now held by Olsen and Bascu. So not much wrong with a get up and go in the four-man cruise. 9 to go. Marcus Treichel of Austria had a great day in the two-man yesterday, and he is riding the crest of that wave in the four-man, 9th after the first heat. The lead over Justin Olsen, 100th. The lead over Chris Spring, 0.05 of a second.
90 in the first run, 91. One of the few teams that went slower. And this is a very inexperienced pilot who found himself in the top 8 yesterday in the two-man, and I'm shocked, but he had great starts.
Great momentum as well from their start. Second fastest in the third speed trap.
That's pretty good right there. That's an excellent exit for this second year on the tour pilot. I mean, this kid's showing some promise. Parents are here. They were there yesterday. They were ecstatic yesterday when we saw him after the first run.
Joint top speed in the Kreisel. 300s back on Chris Spring. Can he bring it back? Needs 124, has 124. This is going to be close.
7, coming back some more. Watch out. The speed, 162 is decent. 1100s drops 2 spots by one of the American sleds.
This is a real dogfight.
That's still a great result.
No question.
This he's the most improved guy in the last month of the season. I mean, he's really started to come on. His 2-minute start time yesterday, top 5, really impressed me.
Well, his results this year, 24th, 18th, 14th, and 21st in the four-man. He'll be no worse than 11th.
That's his personal best. Have a personal best as you go into the Winter Olympic Games. Boy, that gives you some good, positive momentum.
Kind of hard to ask for more.
Yeah, it's a little slip and sliding here into this labyrinth, but who doesn't slip and slide through there? Way to go, Marcus.
Chris Spring of Canada rising up the order as Alexei Stulnev of Russia comes to the line. Stulnev 5100ths off the lead in 8th place. Chris Spring was 5900ths off the lead. See how tiny the margins are between 8th place and 13th in the first heat. So just 800ths of a second in it. And the Russian bobsleigh girls are down there. Top right, Nadezhda Sergeva with the flag.
She was 5th yesterday in the two-man. It's women's bob, and the Russians' only positive hope of the weekend. Well, the start time, you know, he had the 490, which just like his teammate at 490. It's the middle of the pack. 490 again. Velocity on the left, 56.2, should be up in the 56.6. That's how the athlete's out of the sled and the driver gets around the first curve. That's where the speed trap is. In fact, the speed comes off the sleds. Good.
Tied for the lead.
Well, this has got to be great speed.
Don't forget, he had 800ths over Chris Spring from the first heat.
1:15.6, excellent speed.
It's good, but it wasn't enough for Marcus Treichel to stay in front.
Down 100. Oh boy, where did he lose that?
It's the speed. Chris Spring was flying at the bottom.
123.
Chris Spring was 123.9. He's going to go further behind. Spring is closing in on the top half dozen.
10, drops 2 spots. Olsen moves up another. Chris Spring just moved up 5 spots.
Yeah, so far, and counting. He's kicking butt and taking names, I believe the expression almost is.
5 spots.
Yeah.
Well,
Chris Spring 13th in the first heat. There are 7 sleds to go.
the cohesion and the choreography on ice of a 4-man bobsled start. Watch the arms come in. Number 2 weights, 3, 4, 5. Look at that. Great cohesion by the Russians. Just, it's middle of the pack starts.
Yeah, but wait till you see the Latvians. All their elbows drop in at the same time. Not flippy, flappy, floppy.
Say that again.
Pass. 7 to go. Canada will lead at the end of this. this, but will it be Chris Spring or teammate Justin Cripps? Justin Cripps, the two-man World Cup champion, and his first season's Crystal Globe, and Cripps lying in third place in the overall rankings in the four-man as well.
Shea Smith on the brakes, Lumsden, Kopak. Smith is the only real new addition to this Canadian team, not in this quadrennial. And oh, big hit in the first curve. But the Canadian team pretty much intact, guys that were around from the 2010 to 14 games.
481, second fastest start of the competition so far. Best first corner momentum, 2/10 up on teammate Chris Spring. He was 1300s up from the first heat.
15.2 though, the speed not there. With that start, that velocity, should have had better speed than that. Down to 13. This is going to get close. I think he's going to have enough. But he's dropped a lot. I mean, he's got love lost on this track. He loves the two-man. He won the event here last year, second in the World Championships. But in the four-man, he hasn't figured it out yet. 49.00. He's only 300ths better in this first run.
Takes the lead from Chris Spring, but he was 200 slower than Spring on that run. So he holds on entirely from his first round advantage.
Different setup that track and Pyeongchang career will be. I think Cripps is going in with some real positive energy, putting the World Cup title and have one of the best starts in the competition. Look at the
Cripps
Canadians.
And Spring.
Yeah, a little bit of wiggling going in there, but watch this bump here. This did not help. He slid into the first curve, and then he bumped it on the straight wall. Here's this beautiful shot from the side where the guys are going, okay, good job, everybody.
Yeah, the Canadians are loving life right now in men's bobsledding and in the women's. 6 to go, and as yesterday, two Latvians come out first in the top 6. Yesterday, they were tied for 5th position to the 100th in the two-man race. Today, they're 500ths apart. Oskars Keeperman is doing the chasing. 400ths faster than Justin Cripps in the first run. So far, Cripps and Spring are the fastest two sleds in the field in this second heat.
486 in the first run at the start. They should do 84 probably. Look at how he's locked in. He doesn't go off the back block. Keepermanis. He goes up the front, locks his feet down on the ice. And this young decathlete 4 years ago wasn't driving. Problems.
Man at
44, there's the 484. They're in. See, now they're still settling in, which isn't good. 56.6.
Elvis Lucis at 3, got his left foot caught on the cowl, on the push bar, couldn't get it in.
So now no mistakes allowed, and there was no mistakes on that exit of those 4 S's. There's a lot of ways to describe how do you come out of those S's.
Good speed, that's the fastest so far. Quicker even than Chris Spring at 71.9 miles an hour.
This is the only athlete that medaled in both events last year in Pyeongchang, Korea. Surprised everybody, including himself.
Top speed, 77 miles an hour.
Yeah, this is quite
better
a run.
than Spring at the bottom,
48.82.
48.82. Fastest run we've seen in the competition so far.
It's getting colder, it's getting faster. So these Latvians, who I've been saying, I said again to their coach last night, Sanders Prusis, the Latvians are sleeping. They got 3 weeks off now to the Olympics and training. I'm telling you, I expect a lot out of this kid right here in Korea, no doubt.
Best result of the season, bronze medal in Altenburg a couple of weeks out.
Okay, the start, well, the choreography on ice, but sometimes it doesn't go. Watch the guy on the left. Look at the sled, was a little weird. Sled was like out of the blocks there, out of the drive lines, and now the number 3 guy can't get in. Number 2 tries to drop in, so they're still moving around out of the drive lines. That's not what you want to do. But they're still the leaders, though.
5 to go, and Oskars Keepermanis heads the field. Final 4-man race before the Winter Olympic Games. Königssee, Bavaria, 5 sleds to go. Martin Haven and John Morgan watching the action. And this is Oskars Malbardis.
Okay, another beast, silver medalist at the Winter Olympic Games in Sochi. Maybe he's a gold medalist.
Bronze medal on this track in the post-Sochi race.
43, great. I mean, he's only operated at 80% back operation after he won the World Championships in 2015 in Innsbruck, or Eagles. But he had the surgery in that summer. His teammate, longtime brakeman Damas Drieskens, also has had a surgery, and they're both about 85%. And they're doing pretty good right now.
Best speed we've seen, faster even than teammate Oskars Kībermanis. This is a battle between the two Latvians for supremacy.
Not too far out of the medals here.
125, 124.4, still quicker than anybody else has produced. 77.3 miles an hour, 72.5. Little slower than Kībermanis, but enough at the line.
Yeah, he goes a little bit better. 1100's better in the heat.
Yep.
So Melbardis, silver medalist 4 years ago, world champion 3 years ago, surgery 2 years ago. He might be starting to put it all together. And look at the size of this guy. He's the biggest driver in the field, about 6'3", 245. Look at this.
Lots of Latvian fans. They were having glue wine with a shot earlier, only they didn't bother with the glue wine. Helps keep you warm on a chilly day in Bavaria.
Well, now the top 4 sleds, the final 4 sleds of the year, Martin.
And we have a tie for the bronze medal, Benny Meyer and Francesco Friedrich. So can Meyer spoil the German podium sweep?
You know, last week we were in St. Moritz, which is a super speedway. Much like Daytona, this track could probably, in NASCAR terms, be like Bristol. A lot of tight, quick turns. It's short, and it puts a lot of pressure on the driver for some very meticulous steering, especially out of these 4 S's. Watch his rudder tips in the exit here.
Only 100 in front of Melbardis from the first heat, and the speed is lower than the Latvian as well. He needs 1:15.8. 1:16.1 is insanely fast.
This is the sled that won the World Championships last year for the Germans. They sold it to the Austrians, and let's see what he can do with it.
125, 124.1, a little slower than the Latvian, so he's still in a hole, but it's going to be very close indeed.
He's got a chance. 100.
A tie at the line.
I said they're tied again. They've been down 2 consecutive heats.
Yep, but he's tied for the lead with 3 to go, so a medal is not
Germans
guaranteed.
To go. 3 Germans.
Yeah.
If I was him, though, I'd rather go first, post the time, go into the leader's box, put the pressure on the guys coming up.
Have 2 minutes of better ice. Who knows? Who knows?
This track is so famous for ties. Look how low his eyes are in the cowling. Watch the heads behind him. Watch the transition into 14. Little error, but everybody gets that.
Yeah, that was a good line.
Good transition to 14. He needed every 100th he could find.
3 sleds to go, all of them German. 2 of them 4-man world champions from February 2017 on this track. And they're the 2 that come up first. The guy that got the bronze medal in the Worlds will be last to go. So Francesco Friedrich won the 2-man world championship here in February 2017 for the 4th time. 3rd after the first heat, but 3200s off the lead.
Very terrible start time in the first run, 487. They should be there around 480. Something must have happened. 484. That's still not the start time these 4 athletes should achieve. And Friedrich, you know, he's sort of not as good in the 4-man as he is in the 2-man.
First corner momentum was not as good as Oskars Melbardis.
That's not good there either.
That's a medal going away from Francesco Friedrich. He skidded like that in the 2-man and still hung on.
115.1, he's a full kilometer speed down, 0.6 miles an hour down. But these sleds are quick at the bottom, but it doesn't matter.
Your German clean sweep has just gone away with that huge skid. 123.7, that's not enough. Friedrich's going to be out of the medals, surely.
This is not the way he wants to go into Korea with the 4-man attitude of this. 5th best time of the run. He falls 3 places. Both Latvian sleds move up. So much for the German sweep. Rennie Spies. What's Rennie think?
Well, what does Friedrich think? Is he going to stay with
That's
the
nothing
Valna?
to do with the
Is
sled.
he going with the FES? What's going on?
Well, the start time usually has the best start.
All right, can't always win everything. That's why it's called racing. But, oh, boy, look at this off the S's.
Too early off the S's. Watch him come to the left side there.
Hits right.
That's
yikes.
Throwing out a parachute right there in that part of the track where you're accelerating. And tough to get these four-mans into a skid. When they do, they have a mind of their own. He didn't have it from the start to the finish.
No. So start breaking out extra medals. We're going to give away at least 4 bronzes.
That's right.
2 sleds to go. We have a tie for the lead. Benny Meyer, Oskars Melbardis. 2 sleds to go. Now this is the hometown boy, Hansi Lochner, with Christopher Weber, Joshua Bloom and Christian Rasp. Here's our other 4-man world champion in February on this track, but he's 1700ths off the lead.
Way off, and he got beat at the start by the German sled Nico Walter, who's always behind him by 300 or 400. So let's see if these guys can get 483 to a 480. They're probably saying that we have to really start to have a chance.
Oh, what a load,
485.
It looked neat. Let's take a look at the speed.
Snow coming in, look at that.
Word. The final 2 sleds of the season, 1100ths of a second is the lead, but he had 1500ths from the first heat over Benny Meyer, and he makes a mistake out of S4 as well.
900ths, speed 116 change here.
The 2 4-man world
154,
champions.
that's not very good speed.
Oh, Benny Meyer 116.1. This is going to be down to the 100th. He's going to be behind.
That's not a good transition.
And he'll fall 2 spots because he's got to beat Meyer and Melbardis or lose to both of them. He's in the race.
Skid there, 200s.
Not enough in the final corner. He's a kilometre now too slow. He's out of the medals.
Austria, and
he's out
look at
of the
Rennie's
medals.
piece. This very disappointing.
Surely.
And this is the guy who's won 4 World Cup races this year.
Hansi.
He's born and raised a mile from the track. This is a world champion last year, tied for the world championship with Friedrich. Both him and Friedrich have come down and faltered in the final run. Not the attitude the Germans want to take into Korea.
Well, they were tied at the end of 4 runs. They're both tied on that run of 48.94. But oh boy, look at this.
Look at this. Look at this transition here. This is rough. Look at the climb high. Look at the high runner marks. He's higher there.
Very late.
Very late there, but
wow. So Benny Meyer, Oskars Melbardis. When was the last time we had a tie for victory on this track, John? Last time we raced 4-man here in February.
Oh, this is like the shark swimming around.
Nico.
He can smell it. Both German sleds have faltered. He's got a 3,200ths lead on the guys at the bottom.
Two wins.
This is almost a victory lap.
Nothing is a victory lap here.
There's no way. I can't say it, but there's no way he can lose
Don't even
this.
say it then.
There's no way. 482 start, a conservative start. There it is. Now watch what happens. He's just going to... This is a victory lap for this guy.
Don't even
Look at the
say it.
snow coming in here. 3,600ths now.
Nico Walter with Kevin Kuska, Alex Rödinger and Eric Franke. They were disqualified in St. Moritz out of the 4-man race.
Perfect lines. Nico Walter is emerging here. There's such a competition amongst the Germans.
116, that's just a fraction slower than the fastest speed we've seen. All he needs is to keep it on the island.
And this, wow.
125, 123.7, good
He was
enough.
disqualified last week for underweight. 2 weeks ago, he was disqualified in the 2-man after he won a bronze medal for illegal sled.
But
today, he takes his revenge out and wins going away. Has the best time in the second run also. Nico.
Fastest in both heats. Nico Walter claims win number 3 of the BMW IBSF 4-man bobsleigh World Cup season. Only one man has won more, and that will be our World Cup champion, Johannes Lochner, with 4 victories. But a tie for the silver. Benny Meyer and Oskars Melbardis means that our joint world champions, Lochner and Friedrich, are out of the medals in 4th and 6th.
Wow.
Nico.
Wow.
Well, he didn't have dinner last night at the reception that we were at in the centre of Berchtesgaden. He said, I don't want a 3rd disqualification in 3 weeks. And Nico, neither do we.
Well, I'm just
And look at that, the black and yellow colours of Dynamo Dresden. I don't know whether they're here to support Nico or Francesco, but that, Kevin Kuska, that is the way you end a career.
We haven't even talked about him.
And that's why he came back after the DQ last week in San Moritz, because that's no way to end a
He's
career.
finishing off a career he started in '99. He's won 4 gold medals and a silver medal at the Olympics with Andre Lange. What a way to finish the World Cup season. What momentum this gives Nico Walter, knowing he's got a great start time, got a great piece of equipment, and he's got great confidence as we enter the Korean Peninsula.
And the man at 2 behind him in the 4-man has got more metalwork than I don't know who.
Can you imagine if he could win another gold medal?
Well, hey, listen, on this form, you know, the odds are not going to be big, are they?
Look at that.
So there's our result. Look at that, a big win, big win. I mean,
all we can talk about was a German sweep.
36 from first to second, and then 3600s takes you down to Justin Cripps in 7th. So Nico Walter beats Benny Meyer and Oskars Melbardis, who tie for the silver medals. What a race to end the season. What a warmer up for the Olympic Games in Korea. So, breathless stuff. You know, John, we said as we were leaving North America, I hope to goodness it calms down for the rest of the season, because we're not going to be
exciting.
They didn't listen, did they?
No.
They did not listen.
That was something.
I tell you, after this, the Olympic Games has got a mighty high bar to keep up to, because the racing this season, it's like there was something important coming up at the end of the year. It's just been insane.
The reason the racing is so awesome is there's so many great teams out there.
Yep.
Everybody's got the great start times. Everybody's got the great equipment. You know, there's Benny Meyer, 23 years old. He's got the World Championship sled from last year right there. How smart were the Austrians going out and buying that?
Yeah, luckily they bought it and didn't borrow it or rent it, otherwise they'd be stealing it back. Yeah.
But it's just unbelievable how deep you go, all the way at 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 teams down. Everybody has got great starts. It used to be 2 or 3 teams, 4 teams. The athleticism in the sport is what I think is the most important criteria. That is such an improvement.
And you've got to give heads up to the IBSF and the Technical Commission for stopping an arms race that allows somebody to get a massive, expensive advantage on the rest of the field. The athletes are so close. You see that in the starts. The sleds are so close. You know, we talk about a lifetime as being 1/3 of a second. Well,
the Latvians are here.
Feeling no pain. Silver medal for them to round out the weekend.
You would have told me that this was going to be the finishing result. I said, what do you think the odds are on this? First of all, I wasn't going to pick Walter. Second of all, I wasn't going to put Melbardis and Meyer in there.
Yeah.
And I would have bet on the German sweep.
And Friedrich 6th? Yeah. We'd have gone for a German sweep after the first heat and thought we would not be that clever. The final race of the BMW IBSF World Cup season is done. The 4-man competition concludes with Johannes Lochner as the World Cup champion ahead of Francesco Friedrich and Nico Walter, whose win today
by
puts
1 point ahead of Cripps.
Point ahead of Justin Cripps, the 2-man champion.
1/100th. 1 point.
Justin Cripps, the 2-man World Cup champion. Hansi Lochner, the 4-man World Cup champion. And how tight it is all the way down the field after a fantastic season of racing. Wow, absolutely.
Justin Cripps, 1 point. That's him finishing up one more.
Yeah.
Where did he finish? Cripps finished by
first and
500.
fourth, yeah. So, well, one place further up ahead of Friedrich.
Yeah.
But then it is what it is, and the Canadians, like the Germans, in very strong form heading into these 2018 Winter Olympic Games. And among them, you cannot now discount this man, the man from Freital near Altenburg.
If he gets starts like this, I'm putting him down as my favorite in the 4-man.
But listen, if that crew stays strong, think of the motivation with Kuska and Walter.
I get a chance to go down and interview him shortly. And I'm sure he'll have a different attitude in the last 2 weeks when he was disqualified. 2 consecutive weeks, once in the 2, once in the 4.
Well, there is your podium. Nico Walter wins it. Kevin Kuska behind him. A gold medal to round out his World Cup season. Don't forget, there is still the Olympic Games before he finally, he says, hangs up his spikes and his helmet. And a tie for silver between the Latvians and the Austrians. It's been a big weekend for Austrian bobsledding one way or another. There's Heike Grosswang, the Secretary General of the IBSF, handing out the flowers. So Benny Meyer, it's going to be a big summer for him, or big spring for him. He and Elizabeth Vache will get married in Hawaii in March. So they go from Pyeongchang to Hawaii. And there is Oskars Malbardis and the rest of the Latvian team accepting their silver medal flowers.
It's been, Martin, a spectacular season. How about our TV production crew? Martin Verstraete.
Absolutely.
Huh?
Well, the whole
Leader
crew.
of the band in there.
And there are
So
race winners and a huge crowd here, as ever, being warmed up.
What a spectacular weekend here.
For John Morgan and the entire IBSF TV crew in North America and here in Europe, I'm Martin Hem saying thank you for joining us week in, week out. Thank you for watching. We'll see you in November for the 2018-19 BMW IBSF World Cup season. But for now, the road to Pyeongchang is just days away from its destination. We'll see you at the Winter Olympic Games.